morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, May 5th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. Nice recovery over the last couple of weeks. Higher low here, and a nice continuation to the upside. Failed new lows along the way as well. Failed new lows in an uptrend really help identify opportunities here, traps, reversals within the current existing trend. Very bullish here. And today, coming into the session here, just a little bit of a pullback after the strength we saw the last couple of weeks. Nice recovery effort, especially from the strong lows back here. And this market right now kind of in a holding pattern here with a slight upward bias ahead of this week's Fed interest rate decision. FOMC meeting coming out here Tuesday, Wednesday. The Fed interest rate decision and the statement come out Wednesday with the press conference. Also Wednesday afternoon. That's going to be perhaps a big deal here later on this week. But early in the week, Monday and Tuesday, we could be settling into a range Monday and Tuesday, followed by high volatility late Wednesday afternoon, in addition to perhaps into Thursday and Friday as well. So there could be quite a bit of volatility to finish the week. Not a lot on the economic data calendar front here. Very light for the most part. A couple of things today, but not much. Services, global services PMI, non-manufacturing PMI coming out here today. We do have some minor reports on a Tuesday, but again, Wednesday the big day with the Fed. Later on in the week, we do have initial jobless claims and then more Fed speak on Friday. So a fairly light week on the economic calendar front, but we do have Fed on Wednesday. Still trending up until proven otherwise. Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity until a failure occurs. We're still looking for failed new lows within the uptrend. And once we did break out from this narrow range here, we're still looking at more upside that could take us to the 5850 level or perhaps even higher. So watching to see how this thing continues to play out. But still trending up until proven otherwise. And big volatility could come on Wednesday afternoon. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. Similar price action out of the NQ here recently. Strong lows here, higher lows here. Uptrend the last couple of weeks. Failed new lows along the way. Narrow range breakout to the upside. And still trending up for the most part. Again, coming into the RTH session a little lower here today. This could intensify at the open if we start seeing a bunch of MGR gaps down, midpoint gap reversals. So if we start to open through that level, below this level here, we're somewhere in here at the RTH open, that could be very telling here for the early trade. Could be a little bit lower, but after the early weakness again, given the uptrend, there could be a buy the dip opportunity for a quiet push back up as we develop a range ahead of Fed Day coming up Wednesday. Uptrending market still. This thing did reach VWAP finally. We'll see how the market responds there, but for the most part, any pullback here, even into the previous quarter's close price, that could be a buying opportunity as this thing continues to attempt to return back to higher prices. Can this thing get back toward 21.2 or higher? All right, looking at crude oil. There we go. Crude oil dropping another leg here. This one getting just into the previous lows here. Almost a perfect double bottom. 55.12 is that low. Today's low is 55.30. 55.30, and we're starting to fill into the gap a little bit. Big strong push into those 55s. Again, 54 is the major market structure level below. It's also a 100% key range target at 54.21. But this dump here, big gap down, a drop initially, and then you're starting to see a box reversal recovery of prices back above the previous week's low. That's going to be the key level to watch, 56.39. Any pullback into that zone, you want to see bulls defend it for what could be a little bit of a gap fill and maybe a push to the upside. But very clearly, this thing has been bearish on the short-term time frame. The medium term, we're at the lowest prices not seen in over 4 years. This is significant right now. Got to hold the 54 level. And that was the early thought. After this low, can we form a higher low somewhere off the 58s perhaps? that can get us higher. And so far you can see how price has struggled to hold the 58s here and now dropping a bit more. So can we recover 58s and start to move back up? We'll keep an eye on crude oil here at these levels. Looking at gold futures, this one's up 2.5% right now, coming out screaming to begin the week here, uptrending, push through these highs here. That's been a downtrend since that day one rejection. We got enough pullback over the last couple of weeks. This pullback in line with some of the weakness we've seen lately. That day looks very similar to that day. Those 3 days look very similar, to be quite honest. So if you look at, these 3 days right there, and then you look at these 3 days right here, very, very similar, almost identical, really. You got the sell-off day here. You have the doji day with a bearish bias, and then you had the failed new low outside day up the very next day. This one turned G-squat by the end of the day. I would assume this one would do the same, and we're looking for another continuation move to the upside off of this pullback. So that's what we were looking for. I mentioned, can this thing drop into about 32 to 33, somewhere in the zone, 32 here? If so, we could be looking at a 36 or 3,700 target up above. This thing could be moving to the upside up ahead. So this one could be looking for a nice continuation to the upside. 3,600 could be around the bend here, especially if we hold on to these gains here later today. All right, looking at the YM here. The YM right now, very similar to the ES and the NQ. Inside day, a little bit of a pullback, still an upward trend, upward flow over the last couple of weeks. Failed new lows along the way and above the 8-period average here. Very, very bullish from a short-term recovery standpoint. Now we're starting to recover higher levels like 41K, for example, 40K. Can we hold those on a retest from below for another continuation to the upside? That's the thing we got to watch here later this week, especially with Fed on deck. But nice recovery so far. Bulls currently in control of the short-term trend. The pullback today could be a buying opportunity. Above 41,250 here on the intraday chart opens up some upside for the YM. All right, looking at Bitcoin, this one's down 2.9% today. A little bit of a pullback, but within the uptrending structure. This thing has had a great recovery from the 74s all the way back up to 98.6. 98.6 from 74.6. It's a 24,000 point rally there for this market in a very, very short period of time. Can we continue to push this thing forward and you pull back toward 90K from above? That 90 zone right there needs to be defended for a continuation up. Currently developing here a multi-day compression that could lead to a nice breakout ahead. Still an upward trending bias. Lastly here for ETH, this one down 2% right now. This one has had a nice, decent little recovery to the upside given the severity of the decline into 1400, bounce back toward 1900, been trending up. Nice compression here over the last 8 or 9 days. That compression could fuel the next move, likely to the upside. Again, we have a lower value relationship with a bullish bias here. We're moving higher. Any pullback here into 1600, 1650 could still be a buying opportunity as this thing looks to recover back toward 2000 and above. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the new week of trading. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.